Colonial laws in South African contemporary sexual relationships. Now curated by Gabi Ngcobo with Sumayya, Menezes and Zinhle Khumalo, this body of works takes the late Lewis Nkosis novel Mating Bird, which is used to visualize the immorality acts of the Parliament of colonial in apartheid South Africa, and of course the effects it had on people. Mating Birds is currently taking place at the KZNSA Gallery But. To unpack this, we are joined in studio by Gabi Ngcobo, who joins us now. Very good morning to you, Mapolova. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Now, this essay is based on the book by Lewis Nkosis' novel Mating Birds. Take us through what that entails.
So the book by Lewis Nkosis was written or published in 1983 and 1986. So the exhibition takes it as a starting point. It is Mating Birds, Volume 2, and makes reference to the first book. And the exhibition is approached as a curatorial essay that reflects on some of the themes that Lewis Nkosis touched on in his novel, which is segregation, especially in the beach space, as well as the Immorality Act. Okay. So it kind of takes its starting point from the book, but also moving forward into the present and to see what things are left behind from those historical narratives that we still have to work through.
What is your intention of, transforming Mating Birds into the body of work that you are currently working on? What is it that you're trying to get out of it?
The intention is to ignite people to ask questions, or to even bring different kinds of answers, because the things that we are addressing in the exhibition, as much as they are historical, they have come back in recent times to kind of make us feel like we are still being haunted by the same ghost. So the intention to approach the exhibition space as an essay is for people to kind of read some historical documents, but also to see how artists are and have responded to these issues before.
Okay, so is it simplified enough for people to get a better understanding of the grotesque and the gross acts that found expression in Mating Birds?
I believe so. There are, of course, a lot of missing gaps, because this history is quite extensive, and the idea is that people bring their own stories into the essay to fill in the gaps. There are people who lived during the time of Immorality Act, and there are people who are young who don't know much about these histories, but they find themselves confronted by the things that are left over from those histories.
Indeed, and Mating Birds explores the romantic and the sexual relationships that we saw in the apartheid South Africa. What kind of effects do you think that had on South African citizens?
I mean, in a lot of ways, we still live in a divided society. For me, what was interesting, especially, was to really think about the landscape and the space of the ocean as well, because this is where the novel is set. And I think it's really important that this exhibition is happening in Durban. The novel itself is set in the beaches in Durban. Right. Considering the recent stories that have emerged in Clifton Beach and also in Durban with the Penny Sparrow incident, to kind of bring people to think about why are we still faced with kind of like violence, if I may say, that has to do with certain bodies not fitting neatly into a particular landscape.
Yeah, and having said that, I'm quite fascinated by South African writer Andre Brink, who has accused Lewis Nkosis of being fascinated and, of course, obsessed with interracial sexual relationships and being guilty of distortion and exaggeration. What's your take on that?
I mean, this is. I think it's rich coming from Brink because if you look at his writings as well, you might even say the same thing. And I think it's quite an unfortunate reading of Lewis Nkosis because this is a work of fiction, and fiction sometimes has to distort in order to bring to fore, to enlighten a certain issue. Yeah. So it's not. It's taking a kind of a truth and making it better visible, if I might say. So I think the issue of distortion that Andre Brink alluded to, it was quite an unfortunate reading, and it's also unfortunate that the novel, when it came out, was not received so well in South Africa, but internationally it was regarded as the one of the best 100 novels of 1986, for example.
But at least it brings a divergence of views and it gets people talking. That's the main intention.
That is the main intention, absolutely.
How long is it running for?
It will run until the 10th of February.
Okay.
Yes.
And who are some of the artists that took part in this exhibition?
So we have work by Billy Zangewa, Sabelo Mlangeni, Lady Scully, Tracy Rose, Dineo Bopape, Simnikiwe Buhlungu, and the late Trevor Makhoba.
All right. Apolo, Siyabong, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, that was Gabi talking to us about Mating Birds, which is currently on at the KZNSA Gallery. We'll take a short break, and after the break, we'll have sports news. This is Morning Live. Stay with us.